All right. Hello, everyone. Happy January. Happy New Year 2022. This is the full moon in Cancer video. All right. So let's sit back and get all this information going up here. All right. So it is January, Monday, the 17th, January 2022 will be the full moon in Cancer, water sign Cancer. And the high peak of the full moon, which is the most powerful energetic time of the full moon, will happen at 3:48 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So definitely calculate for your location. 27 degrees 50 minutes for those who are meditating and who want to just use that almost an hour time frame for your meditation or for your spiritual work. It is known as the wolf moon. Okay, so in the northern hemisphere, wolf moon, winter time, the wolves are hungry just like we are. So I guess it's a time that they noticed back then that they saw lots of wolves, right? Howling up at the moon, right? Going on their hunt for their food. So this full moon in Cancer energy, I'm going to tap into that. But this is the first full moon of the new year. The energy around every, full moon in Cancer is love, compassion, and just seeking harmony. That's the energy of the sign Cancer. That's what they bring. The moon is your planet. And everyone can benefit from this full moon if you have a powerful Cancer placement in your birth chart, a Cancer rising, Cancer sun sign, right? Um, Rising, I said, and moon, okay? Those are really powerful spots. Also, if your north node is in Cancer, that's also powerful as well. But mainly the sun sign and the rising sign, very powerful in your chart, okay? And then third, I think, would be like the moon, okay? Now, Mercury's in retrograde and Venus is in retrograde at the time of this full moon in Cancer. So we have to be mindful of our Mercury in retrograde energy, how we behave, the things we don't do. And we just have to be considerate with our communication, especially when Mercury and Venus is both in retrograde. When it comes to our money, our love relationships, we just have to be mindful of how we communicate, right? And no, not making any hasty decision. I was busy, so I didn't get to do the Venus retrograde video back on December 18th, I believe, that it went retrograde, but I will definitely do one right now because I just wrote it up. And in the research, I found some really very interesting things from December 19th to January 29th is when this Venus retrograde is taking place. Okay, so we're in it right now. We're in that Venus retrograde. So just be mindful of how you communicate and not make rush decision when it comes to love. Okay, so one of the powerful phrases, and each zodiac sign has words that's associated with their signs. And with Cancer, the words that is associated with their sign is I feel, because they deal with a lot of feelings, this water energy sign, right? And I feel for Cancer, they're very grounded. So to me, overall, their elements would be water and earth, as their opposite sign is earth, right? Earth signs balance them out pretty good. But a really truly balanced any sign, but Cancerians, Cancer zodiac, the crab, they're really great at listening and being thoughtful and being caring to a person's feelings and their needs. So they're very attentive in that way, okay? And it's a very powerful and beautiful character to have. So in this full moon, and I'm just going to touch on some like energetic things, but I'll save that for my meditation channel. I'll put up that video tomorrow. But the full moon focus is really always in every moon. I like to focus also on your personal health and wellness. And the Cancer sign deals with the chest and the stomach. And if you practice any kind of meditation, then you can incorporate I love Qigong. So You can incorporate the chest, the heart, the negative and positive word association with the heart. And then with the stomach, for the heart, we know it's love and joy, inner peace, and all of that. And then the opposite, the negative that you want to get rid of, is being impatient, any kind of cruelty or hate, right? Anger. And with the stomach, we focus on anxiety, worry, mistrust. And what we want is more balance and feeling openness and trust. So these are like some power words that you can kind of meditate on, chant, or affirmation. You can say like, I have love, I have joy, I have inner peace. I'm releasing, being impatient or any kind of cruelty or, hate, anger. And if that's within you, or that's the energy that you kind of want to rid from your space. And the same thing with the stomach, it affects, our emotions affect different parts in our body. And the different zodiac signs are, of course, if you're a newbie to this or not, it's attributed to different organs in the body. And for the stomach, we want to release. I let go of worry, I let go of anxiety, I let go of, the fear or mistrust, right? And I welcome in balance and openness and trust, So you kind of like smoothen out your physical body and your energetic body with these type of affirmations. And we're just focusing on what Cancer governs over the body, right? So right now, the sun is in Capricorn, right? So with the sun in Capricorn, we are in this energetic mode of work, right? And I'm going to just tap into with Venus going into retrograde with Capricorn. A lot of people can look in their chart, where's your Capricorn? What house is it in? And then recognizing where the placement of Capricorn was on December 19th, and just think, okay, well, I really want to manifest, a better career in my life, always, right? Like just a better life experience with work and home life, happiness, balance. So trying to bring that back in, and I'm clicking and trying to get to, it was December 19th, Sunday, waning gibbous moon in Cancer. But let's see, right? So we have that energy of the Venus retrograde happening on the 19th, right? And let me just tap into this chart here. Okay. And in the eighth house is where Cancer was at that time. And I'm going into it here. And Venus was in Capricorn. Mercury was in Capricorn on that day. So that energy is really trying to balance what our experience is with money. And we also had Pluto in Capricorn on that date, right? So I don't want to go too far over, but we want to think of the Capricorn energy of work and organization and how you work and focus on what you want. So with this sun in Capricorn, we want to focus on what we want, right? And what can I build for myself? That's the energy also with this full moon in Cancer, right? And I do believe Capricorn being Cancer's opposite sign as well is very powerful being in this season. We're in Capricorn season. It's a full moon in Cancer. They're opposites on the zodiac chart, meaning that they can vibe and get along very well, anytime that the opposite signs don't get along is because one is very jealous of the other instead of loving them and appreciating them. So that's another thing that I've learned over the years from studying astrology and different people, right? So the sun is in Capricorn right now for this full moon in Cancer. And we really want to take in again, what do I want and what can I build for myself? So we want to focus very strongly on that. If you're going to meditate, you want to focus on, a healthy mind and body. So you would incorporate two different practices that you would want to do on the full moon in Cancer. Of course, it would be about love and compassion, and then whatever your goal is that you were working on from the past new moon that happened in Cancer months ago, and then see if whatever you affirm then did it manifest by the time or before this full moon happened in January 17th, right? So that's another way of charting what you're doing. Now, your meditation could be one of gratitude if it happened, or a rededication focus towards your goal. Okay, very powerful practices there. Let's focus on two alignments happening on the moon. And why are we focusing on these two alignments happening on the full moon? Well, you can use these alignments to focus in if they are in alignment with something that you're working for towards. Okay, now 6 degrees, we have the moon trines Neptune for 46 minutes. Okay, and the trine can be used as a tool of harmony, right? 120 degrees, and you can formulate your meditation around this. This is so deep, but you really want to realize that it has a very powerful Neptune energy of using your imagination, and your emotions along with your imagination is very powerful to attune and to tune into an energy flow that you want. Now, this planetary alignment, the moon trines Neptune 6 degrees 48 minutes, right? Now, you can use this to heighten your spiritual awareness. Now, it has a very deep religious or spiritual connection that can be good or bad, right? So you really have to be within your own personal power. And if you're not, then you could be kind of, led into being a follower of, some religious person or a cult or something, right? So it can you can be taken advantage of, right? But it's a great alignment to study different esoteric studies and movements and so on. So you can tap into this too. Maybe spend some moments studying something. You might find that you get an answer that you were looking for. Sometimes you can do searches and look for something and it just doesn't happen, but then one day you click into it and you might not even realize that maybe there was a planetary alignment. That's what create magic moments, is a perfect timing, and it could be from an alignment or just the perfect time. So this is like a perfect day to receive spiritual answers, if you will, right? In this alignment, can tend to have a overcaring personality, or that's where this overly following someone, and even self-sabotaging yourself, following someone spiritually and self-sabotaging yourself, just not being aware that you're taken advantage of, and I've seen people that just because of their loneliness or sadness or eager to learn, they just attach to someone. And you have to remember yourself and realize that someone's a teacher and they're not perfect. And I've seen this happen. And just receiving great inspiration for your art. This moon trines Neptune can give you great inspiration for your art. People with this type of alignment you can find yourself being very unorganized in the home. Your space is messy. That's one of the traits noticed with this alignment. But it's very good for just spiritual seeking and being aware, right? But the pitfall of it is not to be so much of a follower in a sense, right? And this is the positive one that I liked about this alignment, is that the personality is a very big dreamer, and they can strongly believe in what their vision is, and they can make it reality. So people can see this magic in this person, saying, oh wow, they really believe in this. I thought I believe in this, but they really believe in it. And you bring more attention to that person or that type of spiritual experience, which can be good, but you just don't want to lose your own self identity, right? Okay, so the next powerful alignment, and that's the strongest degree on the full moon that I've noticed for the planetary alignments. Now, a second planetary alignment that you can tap into is the Mercury conjunct Saturn, 4 degrees 40 minutes. And this one is this personality can be very sarcastic when they communicate with others. A personality that's very cautious, calculating, practical, and very conservative. They can have a lack of self-trust, and this is from them caring so much about the details that they want to make sure that they're not being, in a sense, biased, right? So they believe in them. They need to believe in themselves more, and everything that they research or study, they have the facts right in front of them, but they still want to make sure that they're not just fully believing in it. And that's a good thing to have because, you know, after a couple of years of studying something, you find new ideas, new discoveries, and you realize that something wasn't 100% correct or was not correct at all. So that's a good thing to have, but in a negative way, they just will not believe in themselves. So the way to tap into this one is really do the work, do the Saturn work, and communicate that with that Mercury, right? And know that this is what you have at the time. So trust in that. Still be open-minded, but know that you care about the details, and you'll still have an open mind and a neutral mind, because the conjunction is very much like a neutral aspect. So this is why they want to remain neutral on their details, which is a good thing to have, but don't let that block you, right? And the another positive thing is that they're very persistent and orderly and focus on whatever they're going for. So you can tap into that to on the positive aspects of this alignment, right? And it being a conjunction, it's a 0 degree angle, and you can use this energy to just kind of bind and move forward and take action on the information that you have and just present it and put it out there, right? So just trust in yourself, really. The powerful elements for this full moon will be water. Obviously, it's a water sign, and then that's 11, right? That's the percentage that it gives, and earth is 9. So earth will be the second powerful element. So you can kind of incorporate that in your practice however you choose to. Okay. So here's some deep thoughts I wanted to do, because this is the first full moon, and the full moon, you know, for this calendar year, for 2022. Um, but we have to also consider the new year coming up. The spring new year that's happening on January 31st in my location, and other location it's February 1st. So here's something that I cooked up. It's 6 different kind of questions to ponder. The first one is, what am I most happy about last year? So what happened last year that you're really happy about, and write that down. And I feel like a practice like this is so important because uh, from November to March can be like the sad months for people, right? With all the holidays, expectations, especially if you're going through a hard time. Yikes, right? It can be a lot. So we want to focus on what was happy. What was happy last year? For some of us, it was an okay year, it was a bad year, it was a good year, right? So what were you happy about last year? Write it down, a few things, right? So a little journaling. And then, what am I not happy with last year, right? What are you not happy with last year? Write that down. What's equally important is, what can I do to positively let go of what wasn't good about last year? What can you do positively to let go of what you feel that wasn't good last year? And this is what the full moon is here for, right? So it's a completion. The full moon is a completion. You can let it go. What can you do in the full moon? You can pull in the energy of the full moon, but you can also release as well. Okay? Just let go of it, right? And this is such a beautiful moon to let go of what it is that you feel you need to let go of. And the reason why I say that is, Cancer is this zodiac sign is so much into compassion and understanding, right? So the Cancer um, tarot card, right? There's a few cards I like to associate it with. The Chariot does represent the Cancer sign, but I like to think of the Queen of Cups, right? So let's think of Queen of Cups, which I love, because the Queen of Cups, and I was looking at the Queen of Cups, and I noticed that she's looking at this cup in her hand, or I know it's probably called something else. I'll look it up, but she's like looking at it in detail, right? And really focused on it. And the Queen of Cups has to do with being loyal, having loyalty, right? So having loyalty that isn't in a negative way, like we were talking about, um, how positive the positive and negative of the moon trines Neptune. So the negative is deeply religious, right? And I also added spiritual because in spiritual groups you can have people that can just be um, self-sacrificing and give themselves too much to a person because they're seeking that spiritual balance and oneness, right? And some people can abuse that in different circles, right? So we think about the Queen of Cups, we think about the full moon in Cancer, and we think about loyalty. And when it comes to love, how was last year for you and how is this year for you? And knowing that Venus is in retrograde. So we're thinking about, loyalty, compassion, love. You know, are you going to overlook someone's negative treatment and forgive, or are you going to be sweet like honey, or are you going to sting like a bee, right? And kind of have a balance of that, and that's just being in your true um, Venus power. So when I think of the Queen of Cups, I think about your psychic ability. You can sit down, and if you can be truly honest with yourself when it comes to love and compassion and loving yourself, then you're even more of a powerful person for doing that. And it's not easy. So you don't have to be angry. You can move past anger, but you can recognize that, hey, this isn't cool. And really tap into, yeah, the Chariot is great, but I really feel like tapping into the Queen of Cups, right? So Queen Cups here is saying have empathy, for everyone around you, but let's turn this to ourselves because this Venus is in retrograde too, right? So and Mercury's in retrograde. So how can I turn this to say, okay, I'm going to be really psychic here. I'm going to be really intuitive. I'm going to have compassion for myself. I'm going to be empathic to myself. I'm going to be loyal to myself. I'm going to tap into my primal psychic ability and really see, hey, what is good for me? Is this good for me? No, I'm no longer attracted to things that's not good for me. Even if there's some form of love there, it's not the right kind of love. It's not the right kind of energy to be around. I'm going to be empathic to myself. I'm going to be loyal to myself. I'm going to be compassionate to myself. Instead of saying I'm going to, hello, I am psychic. I am psychic. I am using my psychic abilities, my intuitive abilities to discern what is good for me using discernment. That's a connection to the root chakra, right? I am empathic to myself. I have empathy for myself. I am loyal to myself. I am compassionate to myself. I am loving to myself. I am overlooking my fears and doubt, and I am looking past that, and I'm looking into myself, right? All these positive things, right? Yeah, I'm only connected to people that have my best interests at heart, right? So I'm down with that. Okay, great. Now I'm gonna check into the Chariot card. Okay, so let me check back into that. What are some positive words that I can say is associated with the Chariot, right? So overcoming conflicts, right? And moving forward in a positive way, right? So, how can you do that when it comes to whatever is your challenge that happened last year or right now in this year, right? Because there's always, even if you're having a great time, there's always the thought of, okay, I want this to continue, right? So, career success. And we have the Venus in retrograde. So, we're thinking about that. So career success is the Chariot. It's your goals, it's your focus, it's your ambition, right? It's your drive to get to where you want, it's your determination, it's your success, it's your victory. You're going to speak victory over yourself to get that. It also represents war. So you can be going to war with your lower self, your negative self, and you're just saying, okay, every day I got to affirm the positive, right? And if you look at the Chariot card, it has those two lines at the front, one black, one white, just representing the yin and yang kind of energy, right? So you're looking at the Chariot, and it has revenge, right? Because that Cancerian energy will snap back at you if they really need to, right? And it's the recognition. You're recognizing what is and what is not, whatever the situation is. What is and what is not, right? So with that being said, and I didn't realize I was going to go into that so deeply, but that to me, I feel like it's something very positive for question 1, well, for question 2 and question 3. Okay, so to recap, what am I most happy about last year? Number 1, and you write that down, whatever that is, journal that down. Number 2, what am I not happy with last year? Write that down. Number 3, what can I do to positively let go of what wasn't good about last year? Okay. And a little note that I put here is like a spiritual practice of meditation. You can do a kriya, exercise, writing something down, which we're writing something down now. But part of your practice could be writing it down. And I always like to use fire, safely, even if it's a water moon. But writing it down. You can use art, maybe draw, to release that creative energy at the full moon. Paper burning ritual too. You have, I feel like you can use fire. You know, um, your opposite is Capricorn. We're in Capricorn. Capricorn is Earth, which is all the elements. So I can break it down that way, right? Another note that I put in here is like, since we're still in winter, we can still recognize that we need rest and we need work balance. And that goes along with the Venus retrograde that we're going in right now and the Mercury retrograde, right? So we're still in winter. So, and if we're living by the moon, it's the calendar new year, and that's fine and dandy and everything like that. And we're celebrating winter, right? So that's great, fireworks lighten up the night sky, all of that, right? But we have to recognize that we shouldn't be forcing ourselves to make things happen, because the energy of the earth is not in that spring mode yet, right? It's still in that what we are aspiring to create when the earth warms up for us here in the northern hemisphere, right? So we have to keep that in mind. Okay, number 4, what can I let go of or limit doing to get more rest, right? What can I let go of? What can I limit doing so I can get more rest? Rest is so important because it takes away that stress of everything that's going on. We have to have that work-life balance, that communicating life balance. Another note that I wanted to put in here is the next question, right? Number 5 is more of a thought, like getting our mind ready for the spring new year, right? So you can start now by, thinking creatively, but just remember that on the lunar new year, you will reaffirm whatever your answer is to number 5, right? So like I said, the Lunar New Year for my time zone is going to be January 31st. For someone else, it might be February 1st, okay, depending on where you are for that new moon, that new Lunar New Year, new moon, okay? So the 5th one is, what are 3 things I can do this year to improve my happiness? Wow, when that came to me a few hours ago, it hit hard. It was like, wow, like someone has to connect to this too, because I'm feeling this. So it's like happiness is just all about happiness, because I think this our life purpose is really about what makes us happy, what are we striving for, what makes us happy, with all the different emotions that make us, right? And the different experience, we're just really seeking happiness. So what are 3 things I can do this year to improve my happiness? Number 6, what's one fun thing I can do just for fun? So maybe you'll come up with more than one, but find something this year that you can do that's simply just for fun, right? And I feel like I've always had that, but sometimes we just need to do it more, right? So do one fun thing that has nothing to do with, anything, work, gold, anything like that, right? You don't have to record yourself doing it. It's just doing it for fun, right? So, and it also can be a group activity as well. I know with, everything going on this year, the virus, 2020, 2021, I just, sit and think 10 years from now, how are we going to look back at 2020 and 2021? I feel even 2022, and I'm hoping that 2023 will be better, but I feel that we'll look back just like how years ago, when you're in school and you're studying history and the things that people did in medicine back then because that's what they knew, or the dumb, insensitive, cruel things that people did. And you're like, why did people think that? Like, how could they think that? Like, they invented X, Y, and Z, and they really was this limited in their um, social behavior. Like that, it was like, really, they did that back then? They had automobiles back then and they thought like this? Like, it's just ridiculous. So 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you know, and sometimes I don't want to say it, but sometimes people will seal records, if you can follow me, because they know that if it gets released now, it would be an issue. So 70 years from now, 80 years from now, right? Will it be released or will it be sealed? It's just like, what is going on, right? So, it's very interesting when, regardless of what you're talking about, when a person cannot admit out loud to something that's wrong or just make the correct changes immediately instead of dragging out something that's negative. So that's both personal and in our world. We can see, you know, people are not that willing to admit when they're wrong. It's kind of hard. And that goes into the Venus too, you know, back to the Venus. I'm going to make that video next. And I realize how Venus will act in certain signs. Like, say, for instance, Venus in Sagittarius, the way that they show that they love is by giving money, right? Just material things, lavish gifts, right? So if you're Sagittarius rising, that's the way that you show that you care. But it's so needed to actually say those things, or to say it the way that the person would want to hear it, because that's what really matters in life. It's not necessarily how you communicate. How you communicate is beautiful, but how does the person that you care about want you to communicate to them? How do they hear you? We all learn differently. We all hear differently, right? So that's very very interesting. All right. Oh, all right. So I think that's it for this full moon. I want to mention something else that I have up here on the image. Um, yes, Venus retrograde is about love, beauty, and money. So we have to consider that within this full moon. So that might connect to you in this full moon. So just definitely let me know how you are connecting to your full moon. How are you considering the Venus, right? And the Mercury in retrograde, slow to communicate, listen more, and learn more. And also, this is a great full moon, and I know I have a friend that's a water sign. This is a great full moon to, put your water at your windowsill or out on your porch. Um, Definitely your crystals and so on. This is a great full moon for that. Okay, and I'm just looking forward to the summer full moon where we can really, get in touch with our plants and the warmth of hopefully April. I know that some of you guys are getting hit with a tough winter. I'm looking ahead. There's going to be on April 16th a full moon in Libra, and I feel like that's a definite huge karmic shift. Um, you know, After that is going to be a new moon in Taurus, a solar eclipse. So I'm just looking forward on this calendar. So, but this Cancer full moon in winter really can use it for our water. Even if where you are is cold, you can still have it outside to, pull down on that moon energy. All right. And let me look ahead here. I don't see the full moon that I was looking for yet, but here we go. Okay, yeah. So July 13th is a full moon in Capricorn, and that's just going to be very interesting. Okay, so the opposite of the full moon in Cancer. So from now until till your opposite sign full moon, that will be very interesting to see what manifests, what can grow. Okay, that's for all the Cancers, and the Capricorn is kind of like a growth. This whole 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. July is the seventh month. The seven, this whole seven kind of space here to see what can grow before the full moon in Capricorn, right? So power up for all the Cancer signs and anyone with Cancer, strong Cancer placements in your chart, and just for everyone, what growth can happen for you from January to July, and that July full moon in Capricorn will be a great time for crystals, definitely for all your minerals and stones, and also water. But this Cancer full moon definitely for your water first, and then crystals, right? And stones and any other things that you want to charge up. So happy full moon in Cancer coming up on Monday the 17th, January 2022. Happy January, everyone. Um, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.